coffee break on the HNN network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a new DMV Express opening in Milford. Kevin Coleman is in for Frank Granito with your forecast and later on your Nutmeg Sports Update, and Donald Eng will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, in Reading, after a full recount Thursday afternoon, the town budget still failed. Now, that new count is 1,185 yes votes versus 1,188 no votes. That's a difference of 3 votes. Now, in the card room at the Reading Community Center Thursday afternoon, half a dozen election officials spent 2.5 hours with their heads bent over small square tables, counting and verifying all of those ballots. Now, the additional yes vote was found on an improperly marked ballot that was originally read by the tabulator as a blank rather than a yes. Now, another referendum will have to be held within the next 3 weeks. The Board of Selectmen is meeting on June 11th and the Board of Finance meeting Wednesday, June 13th to approve the new proposed town budget. And News 12 reports that Norwalk police are investigating a carjacking at one of the city's busiest parking lots. Now, that carjacking happened at Walmart on Connecticut Avenue around 9 p.m. Wednesday. Now, police say 2 men approached the victim, hit him in the head, and made off with his Honda Odyssey. Now, Norwalk Police Lieutenant Terry Blake said in part that vehicle was found in a very short period of time in a parking lot just over the Darien town line. Now, Darien police located it for Norwalk police once they put out a broadcast that they were looking for it. Now, the victim sustained non-life-threatening injuries in that incident. And in other news, the Connecticut Post reports a Stratford contractor was arrested after police said he took money from a job he never even began. 49-year-old Jonathan Concador of Boston Avenue was charged with 5th-degree larceny and was released after posting a $10,000 bond. Police say that back on August 28, 2017, a local woman hired him to replace the windows on her home for $3,000. Now, that woman gave Concador a deposit of $1,400, which he immediately cashed, but police said that he didn't show up to begin the job. Police said that woman later learned that he never ordered those new windows for her home and he would not return her money. And in Darien, a Brookside Drive resident told police that 2 iPhone 7 phones ordered to his house had been stolen in the course of that delivery. Now, the victim told police he received a text from UPS at about 1:48 p.m. on May 29th, reporting the phones had been delivered. Well, his children returned home just about an hour later and retrieved the package, only to find it had been tampered with. Now, the packing tape on that box had been cut, and the only bubble wrap and charging cables were left inside. Now, that victim called the company that he ordered the phones from, which confirmed that those phones had been shipped properly and the shipping label had been placed over the packing tape. An employee suggested that victim file a police report and contact the U.S. Postal Inspector's office, as those phones appeared to have been stolen during transit. Darien police are continuing their investigation. And upperclassmen at Ridgefield High School will have to get up for 1 extra day next year. That's thanks to a waiver granted by the State Board of Education on Wednesday. Now, that waiver allows Ridgefield schools to hold class for 179 days this year, with an extra makeup day tacked onto the 2018-19 calendar. Now, Education Commissioner Diana Wenzel said the extra day would apply to the high school, with rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors going to school 181 days next year. Now, the state requires schools to hold classes for 180 days and have at least 900 hours of actual instruction. However, Ridgefield Public Schools have traditionally had grades kindergarten through high school freshmen start 1 day before the high school upperclassmen, meaning that the younger students already had their 1 extra day baked into their school year. Now, Acting Superintendent Robert Miller said the schools have not yet determined where that extra school day would be added to next year's calendar. Now, the schools applied for that waiver last month after a macro-burst storm leveled trees and dropped power wires in northern Ridgefield, forcing schools to close for 2 days. Now, the second closure pushed past the last storm makeup day that the schools had available in June, as the state prohibits schools from holding classes into July. There's more on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And in other news, the Connecticut Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics is passing through southwestern Connecticut today. Norwalk police shared this video of their officers running earlier this morning. Now, the Law Enforcement Torch Run is the largest public awareness vehicle and grassroots fundraiser for the Special Olympics. Known as the Guardians of the Flame, law enforcement members and Special Olympics athletes carry that flame into the open ceremony. local competition. Now the run will soon be making its way through Trumbull, which is why we're going to change things up a little bit today and throw it over to Don Lang a bit earlier for your look back on this day in history, as Don has to make it out over to Trumbull to cover the torch run passing through there. Oh, they are, yes. So, all right, so Don, let's get your look back in history.
Yeah, well, we're going to go with a lot of political dispute today. Starting in 632, Islamic prophet Muhammad dies at age 61. Now, according to Islamic tradition, he was a prophet sent to confirm the monotheistic teachings of previous prophets like David and Moses. That's his tomb there under the green dome. His death led to the split between the Shia and Sunni factions over his succession. Now, like any religious dispute that lasts 14 centuries, there's plenty of disagreement over the exact cause and nature of the split, but the two sides don't really differ much in their religious beliefs. It is mostly a political difference. 1789, James Madison introduces 12 proposed amendments to the U.S. Constitution in Congress. The adoption of the Constitution had been very contentious, with a large and vocal anti-federalist group led by people like Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry. Madison had agreed to add a Bill of Rights to reduce their fear of a government that would strip the rights they had just fought a war over. Eventually, the 12 amendments were reduced to 10 after the first. I would have to say my favorite, the 9th, which protects all the rights that they didn't write down. 1949, now the celebrities, including Helen Keller, Dorothy Parker, Danny Kaye, and Edward G. Robinson, are named in an FBI report as Communist Party members. The report cited anonymous sources that claimed Hollywood was using motion pictures to advance a Soviet agenda without actually providing any examples of such advance. That's Joseph McCarthy there. Also, probably a coincidence, but also on that same day, 1949, George Orwell's 1984 published. Like I said, probably a coincidence. Finally, now we go to 1972 for this.
People who know me, they know I love to laugh. They know that I don't hold the hatred in my heart. The question I am asked all the time is, Kim, how did you come to forgive? I can tell you, it wasn't easy. Not at all.
Yes, that was Kim Phuc from a 2008 talk. Kim Phuc is best known at age 9, becoming the face of the harrowing Pulitzer Prize-winning photo, Terror of War, that showed her running down a road having been burned by napalm over most of her body. After the war, Kim was used by the Vietnamese government as a propaganda symbol until defecting to Canada in 1992. Today, she is a Goodwill ambassador and founder of a foundation that provides medical and psychological aid to child victims of war. That is your look back in history for today, June 8th, and I'm Donald Day.
All right, thanks so much, Don. We're going to say goodbye to Don now, and we're going to step out for a break, come back, have a look at your forecast, more local news, and your Nutmeg Sports Update after this. Spring is in bloom, and so are the deals at Honda of Westport's Dream Garage Spring Event. See and test drive the all-new 2018 Honda Clarity 110 MPG plug-in hybrid sedan. Stop in today and see why we've been named Deal Rater's Dealer of the Year for the 4th year running. Honda of Westport, where peace of mind is part of the deal. Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
I've had Newtown Savings Bank my whole life. You don't have to worry about talking to a machine. You're talking to real people. You're getting real help. I'm banking local, and I'm loving it.
Spring is in bloom. Welcome back to this June 8th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and before we get back to your local news, we're going to get a look at the forecast with Kevin Coleman. Kevin.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. We look outside today on this Friday morning, a mix of sun and clouds. During the morning hours will give way to cloudy skies. This afternoon, a high of 80. This weekend, though, a little shaky. Tomorrow, we look at straight-up showers and some thunderstorms are possible during the early afternoon hours. Partly cloudy skies in late afternoon hours, a low of 59. And then tomorrow afternoon, also partly cloudy. It's going to get to a high of 82. The low of 59 is going to be tonight. And then we wrap up the weekend on Sunday with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 74. That'll do it for your weather update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We'll throw it back to you a little later. But first, Governor Daniel P. Malloy announced that beginning Thursday, June 7th, a new state-of-the-art DMV Express Center is opened at the Nutmeg State Financial Credit Union on the Boston Post Road in Milford. Now, that location will offer customers the ability to renew driver's licenses and ID cards while using services designed to help streamline those transactions, including the ability to offer appointments, provide service tickets stamped with same-day times, and offer self-service information kiosks and text and email messages for customer convenience. Now, according to, the Milford DMV Express Center will be open every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon. Now, hours could be extended in the future, but for a list of all the available services that will be there, you can check milfordmirror.com. And 50 Wilton residents packed a State Department of Transportation public hearing on June 5th on the proposed modern roundabout for the intersection of Belden Hill Road and Wolf Pit Road and gave a solid no thank you. Now, one of the outspoken neighborhood residents was David Christini, who has formed a closed group on Facebook to share information about the proposed $2.6 million safety improvement project. Now, his fear and that of many others gathered at the Trackside Teen Center for that pre-project public information session was that a modern roundabout would improve traffic flow and invite more congestion to that residential road. Now, the state has identified this area for a modern roundabout because of high crash frequency over the last 3 years, with 19 accidents there, 3 of which resulted in injuries. There's more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And relief might be coming for Ridgefield students who struggle with the amount of homework that schools currently assign. A new homework policy meant to shape the regulations that govern when work can be assigned and how much of it is currently being discussed by the town's Board of Education. Now, School Board Vice Chairman Doug Silver said at a May 29th meeting that we have a community that's very concerned with the amount of stress in students, and a part of that is the amount of homework assigned to them. Now, that new rule seeks to develop a lifelong passion for learning in all students, they say, through a healthy approach to students living a balanced lifestyle. That according to the one-page draft that was read aloud at the same meeting. Now, the board hasn't voted on implementing the change, but is set to discuss that policy more at its next meeting, which is Monday, June 11th. Now, the previous homework policy was written in 1983, and it was only reviewed again in 1995. The regulations based off of that policy will deal only with the amount of time homework may be assigned for, according to board member Sharon DeOrso. More on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And a major portion of Stratford High School renovation and expansion will come today as crews install a pedestrian bridge over King Street. Now, the bridge was to be installed at 10 a.m. this morning over King Street, and it will connect the original Stratford High School building, also known as the 1925 building, to the expanded facility. Now, the new wing of the high school will house more than 90% of the classes. The current building will be renovated to include a larger gymnasium, a new auditorium, and a school restaurant. Now, the current SHS will have more of a municipal feel, according to officials. An athletic practice field is also expected to be built south of the current school. There's a lot more on that story at StratfordStar.com. And the New Canaan Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to approve a request from the New Canaan Parks Department to enter into a contract with All Habitat Services for over $13,000. They would apply Veclolex to the storm drains for mosquito management. Now, All Habitat Services will apply 4 applications of that biological larvicide to prevent mosquitoes from multiplying in standing water in catch basins in New Canaan. Now, those drains will be treated to manage the mosquito population in hopes of reducing reducing the risk of potential public health threat of mosquito-borne diseases. Now, that company then monitors mosquito counts in town along with the state. The state will routinely have traps in town, so they're monitoring what the West Nile virus is doing and how many mosquitoes are infected. There's a lot more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. But all right, taking a turn now, we're going to throw it over to Kevin Coleman for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Kevin.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. Last night was a big night in boys volleyball in the state of Connecticut. Let's head to Shelton High School, where we were able to see the Richfield Tigers take on the #1 and undefeated Staples Wreckers. Let's take a look at the highlights now as the Wreckers defeat the Richfield Tigers as we jump ahead straight to the 5th set. Pretty big crowd on hand last night. Staples Wreckers getting ready for the 5th set. They won the first 2 sets. Richfield climbed all the way back to force a 5th set. This was a great game, and there it is. Christian DeVivo, easily one of the best players on the court last night. 42 kills. A great stat for him last night as the Richfield Tigers were oh so close to beating the Staples Wreckers, and there he is. Stedman Van Ardsdale, the big kill there for the Wreckers. And here's Andrew Nakel, one of the captains for the Tigers. A nice little rally going on here between both sides, and Luke Press trying to get that one going through. The Richfield Tigers trying to find Christian DeVivo. Again, just a great rally between both sides, and Luke Press gets the kill. Absolute spike there, gets the Staples Wreckers fans going. And here we go, Luke Press, he was great from the service line last night. There's an ace right there, trying to pump up the student section. Another one from Press. But a nice job by the Richfield Tigers. They climb back to actually make this a 14-13 game. And just coming up here it is coming up, the game point for the Staples Wreckers. This one is going to last a lifetime with this boys program right here. Another big kill for the Richfield Tigers, forces it to be 14-13. And here we go. Game point, 14-13 Wreckers. And here he is, Stedman Van Arzel. A big battle in front. And this will last a lifetime right here, coming up. There it is. The reaction says it all by itself. The student section rushes the court, and the Staples Wreckers completes the dream season as they are Class L state champions. Congratulations, the Staples Wreckers. I was able to catch up with Stedman Van Arzel after the game. Here is the post-game interview.
Coming to you live from Shelton High School for the Class L Boys Volleyball State Championship. The Staples Wreckers are your state champions. I'm joined with Stedman Van Ardsdale of the Wreckers. Dude, take me through that last 5th set. What's going through your mind on that result?
Yeah, I look at the scoreboard. We're up 14-12. I wanted to close it there, but we couldn't get that point. I just knew as soon as that ball hit the ground on their side, it was over, and we had to do everything we could. Last game we ever played. I mean, you know, it was just crazy. I knew I wanted that last point. I told my center I wanted to give me the ball, and that last one he just put up there for me. I have to jump and just look for the best.
Well, your reaction was the best when you got that point. Once you walked over there with your teammates, you saw the student section coming into you guys. What's going through your mind?
This is it. You know, it's my senior year, my last game as a Staples student, and that's all I could ask for. It was a great game. It was the most fun game I've ever played. To go out on that note against such a great team, that's amazing.
Now let's go back to the spring tour. We had you guys on that. You guys not only win FCS, which you guys did, check that off, and win the state championship. And you wanted to prove the state wrong. Now that comes to finish.
It means so much to have this group of 9 seniors. We all played together for 4 years to go through the program with our coaches and just do it in our last game as a senior and as a captain. It's so special.
Stedman, thanks for talking about it. Alongside Stedman Van Ardsdale here from Shelton High School, the Staples Wreckers are your Class L state champions.
And again, congratulations to the Staples Wreckers, your 2018 Class L Boys Volleyball Champions. That'll do it for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We are going to step out for a break, come back, recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire. At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com. Welcome back to this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. In Reading, after a full recount Thursday afternoon, the town budget still failed. But that new count is 1,185 yes votes versus 1,188 no votes. That's a difference of 3 votes. Now, in the card room at the Reading Community Center Thursday afternoon, half a dozen election officials spent 2.5 hours with their heads bent over small square tables, counting and verifying all of those ballots. The additional yes vote was found on an improperly marked ballot that was originally read by the tabulator as a blank rather than a yes. Another referendum will now have to be held within the next 3 weeks. The Board of Selectmen is meeting on June 11th and the Board of Finance meeting on June 13th to approve that new proposed town budget. And News 12 reports that Norwalk police are investigating a carjacking at one of the city's busiest parking lots. Now, that carjacking happened at Walmart on Connecticut Avenue around 9 p.m. on Wednesday. Police say 2 men approached that victim, hit him in the head, and made off with his Honda Odyssey. Now, Norwalk Police Lieutenant Terry Blake said in part that vehicle was found in a very short period of time in a parking lot just over the Darien town line. Now, Darien police located it for Norwalk police once they put out a broadcast that they were looking for it. Now, the victim in that carjacking sustained non-life-threatening injuries. And the Connecticut Post reports that a Stratford contractor was arrested after police said he took the money for a job that he never began. 49-year-old Jonathan Condicador of Boston Avenue was charged with 5th-degree larceny and released after posting a $10,000 bond. Now, police said back on August 28, 2017, a local woman hired him to replace the windows on her home for $3,000. Well, that woman gave him a deposit check of $1,400, which he immediately cashed, but police said he didn't show up to begin the job. Police said that woman later learned that he never ordered the windows for her new home and he would not return her money. And in Darien, a Brookside Drive resident told police that 2 iPhone 7 phones ordered to his home had been stolen in the course of delivery. Now, that victim told police he received a text from UPS at about 1:50 p.m. on May 29th reporting those phones had been delivered. Well, his children returned home from school at about 2:30 p.m. and retrieved the package only to find it had been tampered with. Now, the packing tape on that box had been cut and only the bubble wrap and charging cables were left inside. Now, that victim called the company he ordered the phones from, which confirmed that those phones had been shipped properly and the shipping label had been placed over the packing tape. An employee suggested the victim file a police report and contact the U.S. Postal Inspector's office, as those phones appear to have been stolen during transit. Now, Darien police are continuing that investigation. And upperclassmen at Ridgefield High School will have to get up for 1 extra day next year, thanks to a waiver granted by the State Board of Education on Wednesday, June 6th. Now, that waiver allows Ridgefield schools to hold class for 179 days this year, with an extra makeup day tacked on to the 2018-19 calendar. Now, Education Commissioner Diana Wenzel said the extra day would apply to the high school, with rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors going to school 181 days next year. Now, the state requires schools to hold class for 180 days and have at least 900 hours of actual instruction. However, Ridgefield Public Schools have traditionally had grades kindergarten through high school freshmen start 1 day before high school upperclassmen, meaning that the younger students already have had that 1 day baked into their school year. Now, Acting Superintendent Robert Miller said the schools have not yet determined where that extra school day would be added to the next school year. Now, the schools applied for that waiver last month after a macroburst storm leveled trees and dropped power lines in northern Ridgefield, forcing schools to close for 2 days. Now, that second closure pushed past the last storm makeup day that the schools had available in June, as the state prohibits schools from holding class into July. More on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. But let's get one final look at your weekend forecast now with Kevin Coleman.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. A mix of clouds and sun during the morning hours here in Shelton, Connecticut, and will give way to cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 80 degrees. Tonight, a stray of showers and possible thunderstorms, even maybe partly cloudy skies, a low of 59. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with some possible showers in the afternoon, a high of 82. And on Sunday, we wrap up the weekend with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 74. That will do it for your weather update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. And we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. We will see you Monday at 11 with the latest local news and more. And from all of us here at the HAN Network, have a great weekend.